So now, today in our topic is the impact of the choice of digital communication on the user experience, and another is if we have available time, then we will discuss about the home network or LAN network. Mainly two things which define the experience of a user will be good or bad. Actually, it depends on your choice, what kind of network you are using. So according to the network, your experience will be different. So here main two things are very much important. Maybe I have already said this on in the previous classes. Again, we have to know many things about this. One is latency, another is bandwidth. So what is bandwidth? Actually, bandwidth is a rate of data transfer for a fixed period of time. That means time will be fixed, and in this fixed time, how much data is traveling. Actually, this is the bandwidth. Uh, we can give an example by using pipes or pipeline. If we use a wide pipe, then more water can be flow through the pipe, and if we use a narrow pipe, then less water will go through the pipes. So in the same time, the user of the wider pipeline will get more water, and at the same time, those users are using the narrow pipeline, they will get less water. So you can see in the bandwidth image here, I just try to show you how the data are passing through the network. And if our bandwidth quality, that means sometimes we use 1 Mbps or 2 Mbps. Actually, these are the speed. We always talk about the speed of a network. So we can see at the bandwidth image that at the first portion, the bandwidth limit is 25 megahertz, and a second portion, this is 100 megahertz. So we will get more data if we use 100 megahertz line or broadband or bandwidth, and if we use 25 megahertz, then you will get less data. That means we can transfer less data. So are you clear here about the bandwidth?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And latency, actually latency is a time. Actually from one point, the information is traveling from one point to another. So how much time it takes, actually this is the latency. So if we use the direct line, then it will take less time. That you are watching in the second portion of the latency. If you have curvy line, that means if we have more switches and if we go through more networks, then it will take long time. And if we directly connect it to the ISP, then it will also take very less time, as if the time will be saved and we'll get or we'll access more data in the same time. So do you have anything to ask me in the latency or bandwidth?
No, sir.
Sir, in this picture, what is the in bracket after latency? MS meter
ms actually this shows miles.
miles.
Hmm.
Oh,
Or why is it, sir, in the bandwidth, the picture there is written DC, and what is BW limit,
Sorry.
and the
That's
bandwidth.
sir?
bandwidth.
Bandwidth, the picture there it is written BW limit.
Black and white.
Actually, bandwidth limit. BW means bandwidth limit.
Oh,
So we can control the bandwidth. You will see when the ISP provides you the internet service, they ask you what will be your speed, 1 Mbps, 2 Mbps, or 5
Oh
Mbps.
yes.
Which one you want to take?
oh,
Actually, they can control this one by using some softwares.
Oh.
What it?
Yes, sir.
yes.
Yeah. And actually, that was the basic knowledge about the latency and bandwidth, and what is the things which is responsible for the speed of your network and your experience. Suppose you want to access the Google server. So we are watching in the latency image. So say we are staying at Bangladesh, left side of the second image of the latency. So if you consider the first point, this is the Bangladesh, and the last point, which is the Google server. Suppose some people are going through the main ISP line or direct line, or the second person are using the lines which coming through many networks or many switches, many hubs, many MCs, like a Kirby line. So if we go at the same time, or if we travel, or if we request for any image or any document or any data to the server, then who will get more quickly?
The below one.
Number two, that means the
Yes, sir.
ping ball. The ping ball, is it?
Yes,
Because
Yes.
sir.
this person is going through the straight line. There have no via.
Yes, sir.
But the person, yellow person, who is using the network which is coming through many networks, that means many, it can be many home networks, or it can be branches, or it can be tree networks. So he will get the data in sometimes late, because they are traveling through many paths. That is why the latency is very much, very much important for the experience of a user, and also bandwidth. Because if you use more bandwidth, then you can access more data. Suppose you want to download 100 Mbps, 100 megabyte of a song or a video file. Then if we use 1 Mbps broadband or bandwidth, then suppose it takes 1 minute to download, and if we use this one 10 Mbps, the person who is using the 10 Mbps, he can download this file uh, 10 times faster, is it? Yeah, 10 times faster, because more data can be traveled through this bandwidth
Yes, sir.
at the same time. Okay, then next, Next is we'll talk about the network or the home network or network. So we can talk about home network. At first, we will start with a small network, not a big network. At first, we will start a small network. So actually, there are two types of network. One part-to-part network or pair-to-pair, we can say anyone, and client-server network. So we are watching the first image, which is part-to-part network. Part-to-part network means here all of the computers are connected to each other, but they have no server. All computers are server, all computers are client. Okay.
I didn't get it.
Yeah. Suppose in your building you have 5 computers or 10 computers, and all of you are connected through any router, but this router is not connected to the internet or cable connection. As if you can transfer data from one user to another user, but there have no clients, there have no servers. That means there have no PCs or any computer which will provide information to you. Actually everybody is server here, so you can access any data from any computer. Suppose we have 5 computers, and Salman
Yes,
want to
sir.
take some data from my computer, and we are connected through part-to-part network. So there have no server computer which will provide or which will provide the service, or which will provide the files. The files is in my computer. So if Salman wants, he can access my file, or I can transfer the file to the Salman's computer. Or in another cases, if I have need any other software from Arif, then he can send me, or I can access his files or softwares or data.
We can access.
Yeah,
We can access without permission. I mean, I can access if I need without permission.
yeah. That time we don't have need permission, because when we set up this type of network, we specify which file we want to share or which drive we want to share. Actually, if we set like this, then anyone can access the file. Those people are in this network, because you have already given permission that this file can be accessed by the other users. Or sometimes you can share your printer with the other person or other people who is in your network in these cases. So we can share our printers, our files, our scanner by using this type of network, part-to-part network. Actually, in this case,
Oh,
the user is low, quite low.
yes, sir.
A few amount of user can prepare or can make this network. So it can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20. It can be. Okay. Suppose if you consider a bank, there have many computers, and in this computer, there have a main computer which actually provide all the information, and the user, suppose in receiving desk, in cash counter, or in manager desk, or any other officer's desk, they have computers and they can access data from this main computer. Actually, this main computer is server, and the person who are using this information which is stored on this main computer. These users are client. So in
So
this
is it
case,
wireless or wired connection?
yeah, it can be wireless or it can be wired, any kind of network. Okay.
So can we use this server from anywhere from this world? In the whole world?
Yeah, actually, I have to finish this lecture, then you will understand clearly what I am trying to understand to you.
Oh, okay.
So, peer-to-peer network. Actually, this is the small network. Actually, which is prepared or which is formed by using several computers and client server. This is the network. It can be prepared or it can be made in local area network or it can be wide area network. And suppose when we want to access the Google search engine, sometimes you watching the client one, he is sending the request to the server.
Yes,
That
sir.
means if we think the main computer is the Google server, so when the client is sending the request to the server, that time server at first manipulate this one, and at first it fetch the information in his in its database. Then it provides the list of the data which is like or which is closest to the search criteria or the search request. Then it prepared the list and respond to your browser. After that, the browser convert this information and show on the screen. So it can be local area network or it can be wide area network. We can also set up this client server process in our local area network. Suppose in your school or in your a small company, you want to use a client server. Actually, why we will use client server network and peer-to-peer network? They have uses or they have purposes. In which situation we will use which type of network?
In office we can use peer-to-peer network.
Actually, the network or the offices where we don't have need to preserve the information centrally. In that cases, anyone can share their file or they can store their information in their own computer. That case, we can use peer-to-peer network. And the client server, the person who wants the whole information will be stored in a single computer, and from there all the information will be distributed. So in these cases, it can be local area network, it can be wide area network. Suppose
Yes, sir.
your school wants to store information centrally in a single computer, and it provides the service to all other users. So in this case, the school can use client server network. All the data will be preserved in a single computer, that means in a server, and the clients, the user, can request for this information to the server, and the server will try to fetch this information to its database, and it gets, and if it gets the available information for which you are requesting, then it will send a response to your browser, that means in your computer, and in this way you will get the data. So now this is your session. You will tell me which type of network is better.
Client, the
Client
server
server.
network.
Client server or part to part?
I think client server network.
Client server.
Yes.
Client server. Because there have some security problem, because in part to part network, individual person are managing their security on their own computer.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, uh, any person can use hard security or the difficult security, or anyone can use few strong security, or some other person do not using any security. So actually these are the security less network. Part to part network is security less network, and which is used in a small area. And client server, actually in this case, the main computer, if the main computer is secure, then all other computers are secure, or we can say the other computers do not need to maintain the security. So in server side, we can use strong or very difficult or very strong security on the server or server side, as if any unauthorized person can access this site or this storage. And sometimes we can use this one worldwide, as if any person can access this network from any part of the world. Got it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Actually, this is the main difference between the part to part and the client server network. So if you have any question, then you can ask me. You don't have any question?
Sir,
Sir, where to
can I use this
visit?
server with any device like mobile phones?
Yeah, you can use any type of device. Also in the part to part network, you can also any device.
Oh, okay.
But
Sir,
this,
where part-to-part networks are more used?
sorry, again please.
Where part-to-part networks are more used?
Actually,
Again,
part to
in
part network is used in small companies or small offices, where we don't have need to store data centrally, or there have no hesitation about the security. Or sometimes we can create part to part network to transfer our data, like sometimes we share our data by using share it wirelessly. Actually this is
Yes, sir.
Client
Yeah.
what
server
is called WHLAN maybe.
oh yes,
Oh,
wireless
yes.
LAN.
wireless media network.
WLAN, sorry, wireless
Yes, sir.
local area network. So we can use any devices in this network, both of these, client server, part to part, because we can use our bank information, or we can withdraw money by using, we can transfer our money by using our mobile phone. How this is happening? Actually, this is
Yes, sir.
happening using client server network. And we are searching on Google, we are searching on YouTube, we are using email, and even we are now we are performing class by using client server network. Actually we all are the clients, and the service of the network, sorry, of the communication which provides by the Zoom. Zoom is the server, and we are using the service of these sites, and we are getting the information, we're getting the application
Yes,
which
sir.
we don't have need to install in our computer. So in this case, we are using client server network. Any other question? Nobody? Shifa? Shifa is in the line. Is she present?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, do you have anything to ask me? Okay, then we will talk about the role of a server. Actually, what is the role of a server? Actually, server performs many important tasks. Sorry, maybe I didn't prepare this next presentation, that means next slide. Although we can share our theme or share our ideas by using without any presentation. Actually, server plays an important role, which is sometimes we are searching on the YouTube or we are searching on Google or any server sites. Actually, what is happening when we request for the information we want, then this request goes to the server, and the server receive this request, then it start to fetch information which is related to the request, then it assemble this request and it send it to the client who is requesting for this information. Actually, there are 4 different tasks is performed. After that, we get the data return. Sorry, we get the data in return.
Yes, sir.
So 4 tasks. After completing 4 tasks, the server send this data to the client. So it performs a big deal or a difficult task. And actually, the server, actually, what do you understand by the server or the technology? What is the technology used in this server? Server is also a computer, and we are using general computer. This is also a computer. Actually, what is the difference between them? What is the main technology between them? Did you heard the word RAID? RAID.
Yes.
RAID.
No. Yes, sir.
Actually, you will familiar later if we study about ICT or computer science. Then you maybe heard the word in book, in your book, maybe or not. I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure. Actually, its full form is redundant array of inexpensive disks. Redundant array of inexpensive disks. It means the server sites are used different types or different kinds of storage information or different kind of storage hardware. Suppose we are using one hardware, suppose 1 terabyte it can be, or 500 gigabyte it can be, but in server side they are using 2 terabyte of storage for storing 1 terabyte of data.
I didn't
So
understand.
have there anything unfamiliar with you? We are using 1 terabyte of memory to store 1 terabyte of data, but the server is using 2 terabyte of memory to store 1 terabyte of data. Okay, I'm just telling in Bangla. আমরা তো এখানে কি বলো, আমরা এখানে ব্যবহার করছি 1 টেরাবাইট মেমোরি ব্যবহার করছি বা হার্ড ডিস্ক ব্যবহার করছি 1 টেরাবাইট ডেটাগুলোকে সেভ করার জন্য, স্টোর করার জন্য। কিন্তু তোমার হচ্ছে সার্ভার ওই 1 টেরাবাইট ডেটাকে সেভ করার জন্য ব্যবহার করছে 2 টেরাবাইট ডেটা, সরি 2 টেরাবাইট মেমোরি। এটা কি তোমাদের কাছে আশ্চর্যের বিষয় না?
Yes, sir.
কেন ব্যবহার করবে? এটা তো কোনো একটা কারণ থাকতে হবে না? শিফা কি চুল কেটে ফেলেছো? শিফা কি আমার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছে না নাকি? তাহলে কেন ব্যবহার করছি আমরা 2 টেরাবাইট ডেটা, 1 টেরাবাইট ডেটার জন্য 2 টেরাবাইট মেমোরি কেন ব্যবহার করছি? এখানে বিষয়টা হচ্ছে, ধরো এখানে হচ্ছে রেট যে সিস্টেমটা, এখানে এই রেট সিস্টেমে হচ্ছে 3টা ক্যাটাগরি আছে। 3টে ক্যাটাগরি হচ্ছে এই হার্ড ডিস্ক গুলোকে সাজানোর জন্য বা এই ডেটাগুলোকে স্টোর করার জন্য 3টে ক্যাটাগরি আছে। তো আমরা এত ডিপে না যাই, আমরা শুধু এতটুকু জানি যে কেন আমাদের প্রয়োজন হয়। আমাদের প্রয়োজন হয় হচ্ছে যে আমরা একই ডেটা 2টা হার্ড ডিস্কের মধ্যে জমা করে রাখতেছি। ইন কেস যদি কোনো হার্ড ডিস্ক আমার নষ্ট হয়ে যায়, তাহলে অন্য যে হার্ড ডিস্কটা আছে সেটা আমাকে সার্ভিস দিবে। সহজ কথা, এটা বুঝতে পেরেছো?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir. মানে স্যার ব্যাকআপ।
অ্যাকচুয়ালি মেইন উদ্দেশ্য এটাই। তো আমি তোমাদেরকে আজকের লেকচার শিটটা কোথায় পাঠিয়ে দিব?
আচ্ছা
স্যার হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে দিলে ভালো হয় স্যার।
আচ্ছা, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে আমি দিয়ে দিচ্ছি।
ক্লাসরুম থেকে
হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে দিয়ে দিচ্ছি। আরেকটা
ক্লাসরুমে
বিষয়
দিলে
হচ্ছে,
স্যার ডাউনলোড করা যায় না।
আরেকটা বিষয় হচ্ছে কি যেন বলতেছিলাম, তাহলে ভুলে যাই। আমি তোমাদেরকে ওই হোম নেটওয়ার্ক বা লোকাল এরিয়া নেটওয়ার্কের সুবিধা অসুবিধা নিয়ে একটু আলোচনা করতে চাইছিলাম, কিন্তু আমার ক্লাস টাইম খতম হয়ে গেছে, এইমাত্র হয়ে গেল। কিছু করার নেই। আমি তোমাদেরকে শিটটা পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি, তোমরা একটু পড়ো, পড়লে ইনশাআল্লাহ বুঝতে পারবা।
ওকে
ওকে,
Yes, sir.
ভালো থেকো, আল্লাহ হাফেজ।
Okay, sir. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
ওয়া আলাইকুম আসসালাম।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম স্যার।
টাটা।
Alaikum, sir.